Do you know what intrigues me about Gemma's technique?
100.
It's the grip. Everything is focused on the end of the dart. It's as if she's throwing a knife.
140.
When you see it from a certain angle, it's like she's holding the point.
60.
It's very unusual. And the only person I can really liken it to is Peter Manley, who had his thumb and his forefinger on the dart.
81.
And that was it. And in darting terms, this is called a fling.
85.
There are certain different types of delivering a dart. This is a push. It's very pronounced. And then when in set position, it's a push.
137.
Gemma, in set position, gets the end of the dart and gives it a fling.
40.
Well,
Kirsty, you require 102.
I know it's Justin Hood's birthday, but the last thing you want is a Robin Hood.
Well, 97 less, so treble 19 leaves double top. Not to beat. Welcome along to viewers joining us on the Modus Super Series YouTube channel internationally
78.
to our coverage here of Women's Week 3. We are into Game 7 of our session between Gemma Hayter and Kirsty Hutchinson. Kirsty leading by a leg to nil, looking at double 12 to open up a 2-zip advantage against Gemma, who is at the top of the table. Lost her first game, won her second. Trina Gulliver
44.
and Kirsty Vinakainen also on 10 points.
24.
Kirsty, with a win here, can move on to 8. And playing incredibly well, averaging an excess of 91.5. Looking for a 2-zip lead. Looking at double 6, but plenty of time on her side because Hayter's not on a finish.
Game shot on the
2-0 it
second
is to
leg.
Hutchinson.
Kirsty Hutchinson.
And just like that, we might have Kirsty starting to make her move today.
Third leg. It's Gemma to
Started
throw first.
At
Game
the
on.
foot of the table. Now, closer to 3rd than 6th.
40.
For those of you joining us in Pluto TV territories, hope you are enjoying the coverage over the course of the afternoon. And do stay with us because there's
140.
plenty coming up after we're done, including Luke Humphreys at the Live Lounge. He paid a visit to us back in the summer
60.
last year. He'll be taking on various darts challenges and we'll be having a sit-down conversation with Chris Murphy to talk about his career so far.
And some of his challenges were done with Gemma Hayter.
85.
Then we've got a special with Beau Grease, a Tungsten Talk,
60.
and the Beau Grease Bullseye Challenge. And then we're going on the oche for the rest of the day. We're going to be visiting the darts referee from 10 past 4. And then we're going to be visiting the Whitlocks
80.
and Damon Hetta, as well as a trip to the farm to join Scott Mitchell there.
140.
Hutchinson with a superb performance and now looking to put a cap on it here. 6 darts to 196 to
26.
complete a comprehensive 3-0 win. Well, that's a happy enough accident because it's left her on the big fish.
100. Kirsty
May still be
require
in control of this
170.
result. But even if she doesn't get the 170, which she won't, get yourself under 100.
$44.
Which is something
Gemma,
she
you
can't
require
do. So maybe
101.
Gemma has a route back into this match.
Well, Hayter unable to complete the 101, and so Hutchinson
69.
back for
Kirsty require
126. Now, she was in control of this leg, was Kirsty, but a couple of slack visits has opened up the door for Hayter, who's left herself on a double, and this does not go. Single leads the ball, triple leads double 6. Double 6. She won the last leg with it. Can she wrap the match up with it? On the back of the 126. And to strike a big blow to Gemma Hayter's chance of winning this Group A. Big dart, big moment. But she couldn't find the big
120.
hit.
Gemma, you require 32.
Yeah, couldn't finish the game in the same way that
Game shot on the
Kirsty
third
Vinakainen
leg.
could in the
Gemma
previous
Hayter.
match. And Gemma will gladly unwrap that gift.
Full flag. It's Kirsty to throw first.
Well, Hutchinson's
Game
got
on.
the insurance policy of having the darts here, and she is looking to cash it in.
Got to give Hutchinson credit there. She was bold on that 69 left with 2 darts. Didn't go for the easy single.
28.
One thing Gemma's been struggling with today is that dart veering left. That's a symptom of when she draws the dart back towards her right collarbone. What happens is her elbow kinks into the left, and it causes the line of the dart to veer to her left.
139.
So Hutchinson, again, in a position where she's got a couple of visits to try and see the game through.
100.
Leaves herself on a finish for Hayter. Only a max will do from this point.
140.
The 140 certainly helps putting
Kirsty
herself on the
require
shoulders of Kirsty
161.
here.
Well, this has been a really
64.
good leg from Hutchinson, but that last dart right there makes things a lot more complicated.
100.
This is where things could
Kirsty
change
require 97.
or end. Now it's 2 if she needs them, but
Big
just
shot
needs the
and
1.
match.
With a
Kirsty
14 darter, Kirsty Hutchinson has just had her best performance of this week so far. Her confidence is starting to grow, and with 3 wins from 3 today, we might be starting to see something blossom with that lady from Durham. Now you see confirmation of the averages and 50% on the doubles as well, and that is off the back of 3 from 4 in her previous game. All of a sudden, Kirsty Hutchinson is on the tail of the top 3.
plenty coming up once the live darts is finished here in Portsmouth. We'll be watching Luke Humphreys at the Live Lounge. He joined us last summer for some fun challenges and a sit-down about his career so far. That'll be followed by the Bo Greaves Tungsten Talk, in which she talks about her World Championship successes, what's next for her. And then the live darts resumes from 9:30 tomorrow morning. The final session of Group A will get underway, and it builds up to an almighty crescendo on Saturday night, 7:30 p.m, live and exclusive here on Pluto TV. Plenty coming up across Pluto TV and on the Modus Super Series channel over the course of 2025. We'll delve into a little bit more of that in due course, but we've got a meeting here between two bona fide legends of the game. Trina Gulliver, 10-time champion of the world. Lisa Ashton, 4-time champion of the world. Paul Nicholson, world championship quarter-finalist once, is with me here in the commentary box to talk all about it.
First leg, it's Trina to throw first. Game on.
Remind me, Henry, how many world championships did you play in?
Never lost a game at the Worlds, mate.
That wasn't my question.
100.
Well, Lisa's played at Lakeside. She's also played at Alexandra Palace and
47.
has also played at the O2. So 3 World Championship venues for Ashton.
They lost to Makura Suzuki
100.
at the Indigo in 2020. One of a number of players to have won world championships in 2 venues, Makura Suzuki.
60.
But interesting there, Lisa Ashton began the game down on 90s. Now, we have seen this in the past from Lisa when she has had her shoulder problems. It's easier for her to
121.
head down for the 19s and play on there than perhaps exacerbate an issue there and stay upstairs.
Or she's trying a different plan because she hasn't won a game today yet.
140.
And I am thoroughly on board with that. We recently, in PDC Darts, saw Nathan Aspinall in a final using 19s predominantly, and he used it to great effect. He'd end up losing to Damon Hetter, but there are other trebles you can use if the treble 20's not working.
100. Trina, you require 40.
Well, Trina Gulliver has switched on right from the very start. Has left tops after 12 to take out the opener. And I just wonder whether you may see a bit of vengeance on the Golden Girl here after what happened last time out against
22.
Kirsty Hutchinson. She's missed
You
a
require
couple of darts to win the
154.
opening leg. Ashton 154 to nick it.
After a brilliant
Trina,
first 4
require
visits,
18.
it's become a little untidy.
Game shot on the first leg. Trina Gulliver.
Very well weighted there, Trina. Always wait until the referee calls it. She thought it was
Second
in, and
leg,
it definitely
it's
was.
Lisa to throw first. Game on.
Gulliver 1 up. Striking the early blow against Lisa Ashton. You mentioned Lisa obviously playing and
85.
getting to the final of the only ever Indigo World Championship. Trina, of course, the Queen of Lakeside 10 times.
140.
I just felt with the Indigo venue, the problem you had was the venue wasn't the problem. It was what happened in the prelude. That felt like a venue that for a World Trophy type tournament over a weekend in that venue probably would have worked. It was a good venue, but the wrong tournament. And unfortunately for that venue, it's forever going to be tarred under the name of that particular tournament.
Yes, because you can't
60.
call Wayne Warren a Lakeside champion, can you? Because he didn't win it at Lakeside. But you can call him a world champion, and no matter what you think, because there are people out there who think this, Wayne Warren is a world champion. Like it, lump it, don't care. He's a world champion.
136.
Trina left tops after 12 in the first leg, and
100.
Ashton has repeated
40.
the trick here in leg 2. High quality contest. So far, the best contest we've seen so far this week.
No score. Trina, you
This I
require
can't believe that.
141.
After bending the wire on dart 1, she was sure it was going to be her leg. It may still be.
100. Lisa, you require 40.
So double top for Ashton to level this game up at 1 apiece.
Game shot on the
Clip
second
off the
leg.
barrel
Lisa Ashton.
into the tops. And a level game we have once more.
Third leg, it's Trina to throw first. Game on.
It was at this point yesterday we were talking about other talents from around the world. And maybe other talents that we could
97.
possibly see here in the coming seasons. It's nice to see that there are a lot more tournaments in North America
139.
happening these days. Things like the Golden Harvest over the weekend in Canada. If you want to get a few air miles,
24.
going to Canada is not a bad thing to do. But if you want to go from tournament to tournament in North America, be prepared to be on a plane for a
98.
while. The geography it is so difficult for some of those North American players.
$80.
Well, Ashton here is taking the darts at leg 3, and the lightning quick starter Trina Gulliver
82.
has been cancelled out by a very strong response from the Lancashire Rose.
60.
Well, one thing you did mention at the end of yesterday is you expected things just to bunch up a little bit. You expected other players just to come to the fore a bit more today. And it has certainly
60.
been proven the case thus far.
They are playing better today. It's as simple as that. It's astonishing how many times it happens
Lisa,
from
you
Monday to
require
Tuesday.
122.
Gets the 418s. And the ball is
97.
edged.
Trina, you require 140.
So close to leading 2-1. That is an astonishing
Lisa,
dart
you
from Trina.
require 25.
I didn't think she could hit that 60 after that second dart flopped down. Double forwards key.
21. Trina, you require 40.
1 from 8 on the doubles, Lisa Ashton, and it's given Trina Gulliver the opportunity to open up a 2-1 lead as she can find double
Game
top.
shot
No
on the third
mistake.
leg. Trina Gulliver.
Gulliver back in front.
Fourth flag, it's Lisa to throw first. Game on.
This is vintage Gulliver. She's being pushed. And she's leading.
43.
Do you know the famous county story about Trina? Years ago, it was just after
28.
the turn of the century, they used to have in the BDO, in the county system, a £200 bonus
60.
for whoever got the biggest average of the county weekend. Trina got it.
60.
And I'm not just talking for the ladies, because there was a ladies one. She got it out of every county player for the entire weekend.
140.
104.85. I remember reading about it in Darts World, thinking, this lady is just mythical.
85.
She beat King and Adams and Fordham and everybody who was playing county back then. Everybody was playing county back then.
140.
And Trina was the #1 player of the month. I know a few people who have done that, but that was a proper story.
74. Lisa, you require 118.
But it looks like the story of this game is going to be one that sees us go all the way to leg number 5, because
94.
Ashton with a sizable lead, leaving herself on a double to take us the distance. Gulliver all the way back on 254. A game which thus far has gone all the way through. And it looks like that
Lisa,
trend
you
is going to
require
continue here.
24.
Gulliver will be hoping it's a trend that follows the same pattern all game long because it means that she picks up 2 priceless points. And she's going to have to do it in the last leg decider as Ashton pins the 6-6 last time of asking.
5th and final leg. It's Trina to throw first. Game on.
If Ashton doesn't win this game, she's staring Group C in the face at the halfway point.
100.
There's barely anything between them in the averages. Now the darting El Clasico of the ladies.
85.
Of that, there's no doubt.
I
I wouldn't even classify it as a rivalry. I don't think they are rivals. It was once said that Anastasia
45.
versus Trina was a rivalry. Maybe Suzuki versus Ashton has been seen as a rivalry, but I've never looked at this fixture and thought it's like Man U versus Liverpool or something like that. It's not played in that way.
And also, I think you've got to remember both players' pomp and peaks came at different times. So they never played one another when both players were playing at the very top of their game. They just kind of skipped a generation a little bit, didn't they? The pair?
Yeah, Lisa's stuff came around about the time where Trina had maybe lost her edge.
137. Trina requires 64.
She's still got that edge, though. Double top for a huge victory.
44. Lisi requires 94.
And so Ashton comes back, looking at 94 to get over the line. Goes bullseye first to give herself the guarantee of the middle target. Trina Gulliver looks pensively in the background, 69. But she's going to get another look at double 10.
Trina required 20.
And this to move herself back to the top of the table, to move herself on to 12 points. She knows the magnitude of that dart and the magnitude of that hit. Trina Gulliver gets the better of Lisa Ashton in the last leg decider to move back to the top of Group A. This could be the beginning of a golden week for the Golden Girl. And maybe a week which sees her lift her first title here. A superb contest. Both players giving it some real highlight moments, but it's Gulliver who gets over the line. She moves back to the top of the table and she applies that scoreboard pressure upon Kirsi Vinnakainen, who's in action up next against Paige Paulin.
$54. Charlie McGuire, 164. $44. $32. Charlie required 120.
Well, 120. He's got a fair, at least 2 handfuls at this. Just needs to stay
60.
there. That's a good shot. Halves his score, leaves himself on a 2-darter.
$26. Charlie
Time on his
required
side
60.
to become back-to-back singles champion.
$40.
Definitely a couple of nerves in those last 2 darts, but he'll be coming back.
The moment he's been in before this situation. Standing at the back of the stage,
Charlie
approaching the
required
jockey with a
20.
chance to win the title.
He did this to win the first title, if you remember.
11.
I think he's gone.
Georgia
I think
required
he's gone to
118.
bust it, maybe. The first title he wanted 20. He went 6-7-7 to win it. He had a chance to replicate it again.
Yeah, I get the feeling that was for a bust, and
39.
on that
Charlie,
situation there, George
require
Scaife wasn't even
9.
able to take it out going to the 18s on that switch.
Yeah, I think he just panicked a bit, but he's done well to get that big one.
Sometimes can be the hardest part.
Georgia requires
This is it.
79.
It's got to be 19s. It's got to be 19s for this shot. Big 20 and a double. He's got the first one. He's going to get a match dart here.
$59. Charlie,
Threw
you
the entire
require
body into that
8.
one. Just didn't want to let go of the dart.
No score.
He's given George a chance.
Georgia require 20.
I think George has been quite good on double 10 today.
So many opportunities for Charlie Murphy.
Go!
Couldn't get the job
Yes!
done.
Got in the match! And the Red Dragon
George
Modus
Scaife.
Super Series Influencers Champion, George Scaife!
Well, not for the first time. We've got some ball hitters in the building as they return for the Influencer charity event on May the 11th. Dan Coates has been here before, one of that trio, so he's going to make his return to the live lounge in Portsmouth. Next up for us, Paige Pauling takes on Kirsi Vinnekainen. It's match number 9 of the session. Before the break, we saw Trina Gulliver get the better of Lisa Ashton by 3 legs to 2. And a win here for Kirsty, meaning that she'd be level on points with Trina at the top of the standings. But if Paige Pauling can win this one, then Trina Gulliver's got a 2-point lead ahead of her
First
meeting
leg, it's
with
Kirsty
Gemma
to
Hayter
throw
in match
first.
number 10.
Game on.
This a really, really important meeting in terms of how the group table is going to pan out at the end of this round.
Yeah, but Kirsi is someone who is very hard to
60.
displace today. That performance she had against Ashton in Game 6, the second best performance of the week statistically,
125.
but finishing with the 155 on double 19 and 3 out of 3 on the doubles. I think there is a case to make for that being the best performance of the week so far.
Certainly seeing the standard rise as the
55.
day moves along and as the week is moving along. It certainly feels like the players now are really beginning to settle into things here at Women's Week 3.
140.
I just wonder with Paige Pauling whether as the week goes along and she really does begin to settle into things, how dangerous she's going to be. I think there's a possibility that the 3 players that drop into Group C, the way that they're improving day on day, could cause absolute
57.
carnage for the 3 players that are coming in.
Good. We like carnage. I like carnage. Do you like carnage?
Absolutely.
What kind
95.
of carnage do you like?
I just like craziness and things you cannot predict and things that then when it's done, your head is left in a spin.
You should take up boxing then.
Oh, no, let's
83.
be honest, that's not
Paige
going to end well.
require 141.
It's a lovely first start from Paige. And it's double 12.
129.
I wonder if we're going to get one of those purple patches from Pauling today that we saw late on yesterday. She was the one person who took out Kirsi yesterday.
100. Paige required 12.
It's funny how it happens sometimes Some people just
It's on
find
the
more
first
comfort
leg, Paige Pauling.
against certain opponents, and maybe Paige Pauling is better at playing Scandinavian,
Second
more
leg,
deliberate
it's
players
Paige
than the
to throw
faster other
first.
ones.
Game on.
Well, that was a 13 darts to get the breaker throw as well for Paige. Really, really good start.
96.
And it just looks like she's finding that range a bit better.
Yeah, Nemo's dad didn't find Nemo for a while, and Paige might be just taking her time.
41.
You don't have to be the best player in the first 3 days to win the title. As long as you're there on Saturday, you got a
140.
chance. Young Jensen Walker knows all about that. In fact, it's happened the last couple of weeks, hasn't it? Jared Cole was in spot 6 after Group A.
43.
Jensen Walker was 4th. Oh, he was 5th. I do beg your pardon.
57.
It's not really a precursor to success, but Group A is all about guarantees. Win the group, you're guaranteed to get through to the final day. But if you don't
59.
win Group A, there are no guarantees. Especially with the fresh talent coming in on Thursday.
54.
What is it about Paige that Kirsi doesn't like playing against? This is a good 28 points worse off than her previous game. And she's been nowhere
43.
near a double
Paige
yet.
require 154.
I suppose that's exacerbated by the fact that
60.
young Paige is averaging 97.
I think we were expected at some point this week for Paige Pauling to have that breakout performance, and maybe we are seeing it right here, right now.
60. Paige
Kirsi
require 94.
can do nothing about it. Paige Pauling's basically running a race against
54.
herself in this particular leg. And it's how quickly she can cross the finishing line, because Kirsi is finding herself on a different track.
Yeah, this is a very different game. This is like Shelley Ann Fraser-Price turning up to the women's sprint race at her daughter's school.
140.
Which actually
Paige
happened.
require 40.
Well, Kirsi has applied a bit of pressure with the 140, but his
second
pressure is
leg,
not going to
Paige
tell, because Paige Pauling's going to open up a couple of legs lead.
Third leg, it's Kirsi to throw first. Game on.
Yeah, it's a sensible play here from Kirsi because she's a bit dizzy from this game. Just taking a few extra seconds to compose herself. Who's the most famous Paige you can think of?
100.
Yellow pages?
Do you still use those?
They don't make them anymore.
134.
Used to use them as step ladders. If you wanted to get biscuits out the cupboard and you couldn't quite reach them, just step on the yellow pages.
Was the yellow page the one with the two fingers walking along the...
140.
Was that the advert with the walking...
Yes, that's correct.
Yeah,
59.
I'll be sure not to have you in a game of Pictionary. Or charades. Oh, famous pages. You could have
83.
Diamond Dallas Page, famous wrestler who's done an incredible job with his yoga, getting some people
59.
out of wheelchairs and getting their alignment better so they can have better qualities of life, the likes of Jake the Snake Roberts and Butterbean and recently Lex Luger. Paige Spiranak, she's a big hitter in world golf.
62.
Jackson Page, the snooker player, didn't he hit 2 147s in Crucible qualifying?
He got a massive bonus, didn't he?
45.
for that?
147
Kirsi
grand.
require 116.
Here, you don't need 147, Kirsty. You just need 116. It's a lot easier. It's going to be 19 for tops.
$96.
She's starting to bridge the gap with the numbers here.
100.
I would get rid of this double 10 because Paige is starting to circle like a vulture.
Being a nuisance.
Game shot in the
But
third
Kirsi
leg.
Vinakani isn't going to allow her to be that in this leg. But Pauline, having got the break early on in the match, has got the darts
Fourth
here
leg,
to
it's Paige to throw first.
get the job done
Game
once
on.
and for all. In terms of later on this week, Group C will see Robin Byrne, Katie Sheldon and Vicky Pruim in
59.
action. Group B, Laura Turner, Lorraine Wynne-Stanley and Rhiannon Sullivan will all be in the mix. There's a potential of a real commentators derby there because you could have Laura, Lorraine and Trina all in the same group.
140.
Sounds like a band, doesn't it? Laura, Lorraine and Trina.
Why did Walking on
100.
Sunshine suddenly reverberate in my head?
It's a bit like when you said Robin Byrne earlier. I started thinking of Burn Baby Burn.
140.
Disco Inferno, by the way.
By the Tramps.
Indeed. How do you know that?
96.
You weren't born. Well, actually, I wasn't either. So, yeah, cancel that. I suppose, based on what we're doing this week, these ladies are looking for a bit of Saturday Night Fever.
100.
Well, it's certainly been no Bee Gees in this particular contest. That was terrible.
You got there eventually.
84.
Bad time to stutter.
Kirsi
Anyway, bit of
required
guidance.
121.
6 darts, a 1-2-1 to take us all the way to a deciding leg. Time is to her aid. And so she doesn't have to attack this. She may contemplate maybe going 777 tops here. Well, decided to go 25 to leave herself a double AT. But by hitting the ball, she's left herself with a singular free to leave double 4 upon
130.
her return.
She's going to be under pressure.
122.
Paige is getting
Kirsi
closer.
require 8.
But Kirsi is leaving the numbers and getting shots all of a sudden. Big shot.
Game shot on the fourth
She's
leg.
up to it
Kirsi
every time.
Vinakani.
She's so ice cold. In the best possible way.
Fifth
If
and
you describe
final leg,
someone
it's
as an
Kirsi
ice
to
woman,
throw first.
it's actually a bit of a slur. But Kirsi is ice cold in
Game
the
on.
best possible way. If you were going on the Crystal Maze, you'd want her in your team. She would bring up loads of crystals.
And she may well
85.
be coming up with some diamonds come the end of this particular match. And if she can, she'll move on to 12 points, same as Trina Gulliver. And remember, Kirsi and
96.
Trina go head-to-head in the first game from the final round's worth of fixtures on this Tuesday afternoon. So it could well be a battle royale to see who tops the table going into the final day's worth of play. Trina's got a very tough end to her day. Gemma followed by Kirsty. But if she could come out of that the right side of things, then she'll very much be in
100.
play come tomorrow.
$26.
Oh no. Vinakainen definitely has the chance of winning this 3-2 from 2-0 down now. That may be the first mistake that Paige has made. Because if we are being fair, the last couple of legs, she hasn't made an error.
60.
She might have been one visit behind, but that's because of the improved nature of Vinakainen's play.
$39.
This could be the best average that Paige has had this week. And still, it may end in defeat.
Well, it was a superb start from Paige, but Kirsi just kept herself in it.
36.
So that's a slip which can be punished if Paige could pile in something big here. Well, that was almost timed to perfection. She's got a slender lead, but Kirsty's still got 6 starts on this 220 to complete the turnaround win.
$60.
It was always going to be tough with that first start, just above the treble and to the left of centre. 23 scored, leaves 192. Should go bull.
83.
That's
Kirsi
something
require 160.
that she may have to learn, but going for the treble has paid off.
Another. Double top. And that would have been to one back-to-back games with big finishes. It was the 155 against Lisa Ashley. It was almost the 160 there. Pauline was forced to take out the 132. She couldn't. She's left herself in position, though. If Vinakainen spurns free at tops.
This would feel pretty salty for Paige. It's double 10. And it just had to be the third dart. It will feel salty and very disappointing for Paige, who put herself 2-0 up, playing beautifully. But you can never count out Kirsi Vinakainen the way she plays. She's so resolute. And with this performance, she will find herself on 12 points. Someone who is making a move and has not suffered defeat today. 3 rounds down and 3 victories. And on this occasion, 3 out of 9 on the doubles with almost an 80 average was good enough to win 3-2.
Are you ready to lift that trophy, Darius?
Yes.
Let's do it then. Ladies and gentlemen, your Modus Super Series 9 champion is Lucky D! Darius Labanowski!
Well, what a wonderful night of darts we have seen, and we are ready. Our champion is ready, and it's trophy time. So receive the trophy. £25,000. The new Modus Super Series champion, the Terminator, Marvin Van Velzen. And one more time, the 8th Modus Super Series champion, the Terminator, Marvin Van Velzen. And the new Modus Super Series champion is Andreas Dirty Harrison. And one more time, the 7th Modus Super Series champion. Give it up for Andreas Dirty Harrison!
The moment we've all been waiting for. Would you please show your appreciation for your Series 6 Modus Super Series champion, Scott Taylor!
One more time, your new Modus Super Series champion. He is Chucky. He is Jim McEwen.
This Super Series where we completed 3 rounds worth of fixtures here at the Live Lounge in Portsmouth, and this is what we have seen thus far. Well, Kirsi Vinakainen and Trina Gulliver, they are the 2 to catch at the top. Kirsi have 3-2 wins against Lisa Ashton and Paige Paulin in the last round of fixtures. Gemma Hayter fell to her 2nd defeat of the day against a much improved Kirsty Hutchinson in the first game of the 3rd cycle of fixtures, and this is how the table looks as a result of it all. Trina Gulliver and Kirsty Vinakainen both top. But have a look at that. Each of the top 3 all with +6 in terms of legs difference. Gulliver from Vinakainen, from Hayter, the top 3 respectively. But Kirsty Hutchinson, you'd probably say, has been the player of the day so far. She takes on Kirsty Vinakainen in the next one. But this one here is a huge match. Trina Gulliver up against Gemma Hayter. If Gemma wins this, we've got a 3-way tie at the top of the table. And if Kirsty Hutchinson can then beat Kirsty Vinakainen, then you'd have the top 4 all within a couple of points of one another. But a victory for Gulliver would put her in a tremendous position. Would put her onto 14 points. And she can win her last 2. She knows that she is going to be guaranteed an outright lead going into Wednesday's proceedings here at the Live Lounge in Portsmouth. What an opportunity this is for the Golden Girl.
And she's played pretty well today, especially in a previous match. That was a ding-dong against Lisa. Having the darts in that one was crucial.
First leg, it's Trina to throw first. Game on.
The thing about this format, though, is that challenges are always around the corner. Just when you think, I've just put in a great performance, you sit down for 5 minutes, then you realise, oh, hang on a minute, there's another one in about 10 minutes' time.
43.
You can never rest in this format until the last double goes in.
55.
This is why this sport plays with your mind. You can never really rest, even at night time. When you've had a day like today or yesterday, you go to bed and you put your head on the pillow and you start micro-analysing everything. It's the dart players that are able to not do that
140.
that sleep much better.
Which kind of goes back to the discussion we were having a few weeks ago about players that are having that have hobbies outside the sport.
44.
How doing something that takes your mind away from the pressures of playing at the top level actually could give you a bit of an advantage when you're there. If you can manage both of them
58.
proportionately, it can be a perfect blend. Which is probably why people thought that the run that Johnny Clayton had worked for him when he was still working part-time whilst climbing up the rankings initially.
100.
And I think for some young pros who don't have that distraction, it means they live with more pressure on their minds more often. Let's say you turn professional at the age of 18, 19. You've not actually had what has been classified as a proper job or a 9-to-5 job.
100.
You don't understand what it's like to end the day and then be able to switch off.
95. Training
If
required.
you're a pro dart player, you
114.
live as a pro dart player 24 hours a day sometimes. It's difficult.
Which is probably why hobbies is one of the most important things as a
78.
professional
Gemma
sport. But and
required
how many
93.
dart players do you see take up things like golf and stuff like that just to take their mind off of things, to give themselves something to
53.
focus on outside of
required
competitive
36.
action. Gotta have a look at it. Look at it. Double 18, shall I say, to take the opening leg of this one. It's been fairly handy on her doubles today. And then so again there, last dart in hand. 1-0 to the Golden Girl.
What a deflection that was.
Second leg.
I don't know where that dart was going.
Game on.
But it wasn't in the double 18 if it wasn't for a previous flight.
59.
And she too has gone to the molded technology recently. Something that she's trying out. As to whether it's a
100.
long-term thing, I guess we'll find out. If she wins this week, I think it'll be a permanent fixture.
45.
Yeah, Trina lost to Ross Montgomery at the World Seniors, and he would go on to win the title. It was 3-0 to Ross, but she pushed him, and ultimately,
41.
because of that match, Ross gained the amount of confidence that he needed to keep the title in Scotland for a 4th consecutive year.
Well, that's the 3rd year straight that Trina Gulliver has lost to the player that had gone to win the championship, because she lost to John Henderson the year before and then Robert Thornton the year before that. She somehow becomes a very good foil for players, it seems.
60.
And I suppose the trick to winning the World Seniors Championship is this. You beat Trina Gulliver, you win the competition.
32.
Next year's tournament has been announced. And the question is, can somebody take it away from Scotland?
81.
It took darts a long time to have a champion from overseas. 1994. The first overseas World Darts champion. And then Raymond van Barneveld would predominantly take it overseas for the next few years.
Well, when you look at some of the names that could be dropping off tour come the end of the year, potentially you could lose Mensa Suljovic, you could potentially lose Jose de Souza.
75. Gemma, you require 100.
Hayter looking at a ton to level up at 1-1. Tops will be the play you'd feel. Well, actually decided to persevere. That felt like a little bit of a half-hearted dart, and that was very precarious, that final dart towards busting the score together.
Shots on. Oh, it's close. But not quite close enough. Those thick 27-gram barrels.
88.
As much as they are comfortable for her,
40.
I think the girth of the barrel has dissuaded that dart away.
Yeah,
great shot from Gemma.
Gemma
that is a much-needed double 5. Otherwise, she's in huge peril there.
Third leg, it's Trina to throw first.
Level we are at 1 apiece.
Game on.
Gulliver was very much
140.
sitting on the coattails of Gemma Hayter. That didn't go and has kicked off this leg well.
$45.
Who's your favourite lady dart player of all time, Henry? Because we are allowed favourites.
60.
Who have you enjoyed watching the most? Let's put it that way.
Anastasia was a very good watch.
93.
Look, but what Bo Greaves is doing now, everybody enjoys. I was just a little bit too young to see Trina at her best, and she is going to kill me for saying that. But yeah, Anastasia, at least that was kind of when I was able to properly be able to appreciate the talent.
140.
Fair point. When I first came into darts, we had a lovely lady in our county team by the name of Julie Thompson.
100.
Someone that Trina will know well. Julie was great to watch. She was elegant.
100.
And
Trina,
ferocious at the same time.
161.
And that is a couple of qualities that Trina's had her entire life.
100. Gemma,
She's got this ferocious look through the board, but there's an elegance about her. Bullseye.
80.
There you can see the angle of attack that Gemma has. It's violently diagonal because of where she stands.
44 left. But she's missed the big number. She was looking for 4 there to leave tops. There's a wry smile on her face, but I'm sure that wry smile is
45. Gemma, you
also
require
intertwined
43.
with a real frustration, because this is basically a free opportunity gift wrap to Gemma Hayter.
Yeah,
and she's taken it.
Leg, Gemma Hayter.
And she has hit Trina Gulliver where it hurts. She gets the break. She moves 2-1 up. And for Trina,
Fourth
once
flag,
again, an
it's Gemma to
opportunity
throw
to take
first.
command of this group
Game on.
could well slip by. And a win for Gemma here would see her go back to the top on legs difference.
85.
Have you got a favourite darting nickname from the ladies?
Do you remember the Pink Panther?
81.
Zoe Jones.
Yes.
Yeah. I was a big fan of Zoe. Great player.
40.
You'd like my friend Joy Wanless. Played for Northumberland for many, many, many occasions. It's the most Geordie nickname you could possibly have. They just call her
59.
the Big Lass. Love it. Absolutely love it. And sadly, Northumberland County lost their long-time captain
140.
in the last year, the great Ali Murphy. What a character. Great player. Great referee as well. But a great person. She will be truly missed
45.
by a lot of people in the domestic scene. She had so many friends.
140.
140 there for Hayter. Leaves herself on a 2-darter. How she has turned the tables in this contest. Trina Gulliver should have had darts to have gone 2-1 up.
60. Gemma
But-
require 96.
The missed big number meant that Hayter got an opportunity which she took and now is running away with this leg and is going to get a match start at 88 and only
Big
needs the
shot
one match
and the
start
match,
at 88.
Gemma Hayter.
And Gemma Hayter returns to the top of this Group A. And just when you think that this group is moving in one direction, we see another plot twist. These three look almost inseparable in this group. Hayter, Vinnakainen and Gulliver all on 12, courtesy of a 3-1 success for Gemma there. For Trina Gulliver, another chance to really take control of the group, which didn't quite go to plan. We're going to see Kirsty Vinnakainen next up against the player of the day, Kirsty Hutchinson.
would you say I comparing the partners you've had in the past? They're the top, or?
Oh, 100%. 100%.
John Henderson, double 10. And he pins it to take the opening encounter. Angry Jims and John Henderson safely through to the semi-finals of the pairs competition.
John Henderson back on the Super Series stage, playing in the Influencer Showdown, which will take place next Sunday afternoon here at the Super Series. He's one of 8 professional players who will be pitted alongside 8 stars of social media, YouTube, TikTok, that kind of thing, to play in a charity event raising money for the Jack Dowling Foundation. Right. Let's get into game 11 of our day. Before the break, we saw Gemma get the better of Trina Gulliver by 3 legs to 1. And that means now the top 3 players are all tied on 12 points. And it now means that for the first time in this Group A, the ball is in the court of Kirsi Vinnakainen. Victory here against Kirsty Hutchinson
First
would
game on.
put her on to 14 points and 2 clear as she takes on Trina Gulliver at the end of the day. But beware, because Kirsty Hutchinson has been the player of the day so far. She has put in the best performances of anybody, and not just on a one-off occasion, but on a consistent basis as well.
These are the 2 players of the day. Of that, there's no doubt, because they haven't lost. And you can't do any more than that.
85.
But Kirsi really did flirt with defeat against Paige Pauling in the previous round. But you've got to give her credit. She didn't afford Paige a dart double for the match. Kept her at bay. Whether she was on a 2 or a 1 darter to take the match out, Vinnakainen stopped her and closed the door.
26.
Might be wise to do the same against Hutchinson here, because her doubling in the last couple of matches she's played has been, well, what's the right word to describe it? Phenomenal.
41.
3 out of 6 after 3 from 4. And even in her first game, a 3 from 12. That's pretty tidy.
$40. $100.
Well, Kirsi getting off to a lightning quick start in this opening leg. But Kirsi has had a couple of games where she's got off slowly, out the traps, maybe not as quick as you would suspect she would, but then was able just to
41.
claw back the ascendancies that opponents have picked up against her, particularly that previous match against Paige Pauling, where she found herself 2-0 behind, didn't she, in that contest. Paige got off to a very quick start, but was able to find a way over the line. And it wasn't because of a dovetail of the performance of Paige Pauling. She just found an uppage of level following a sluggish, slow start to the contest.
$85.
Advantage Hutchinson, that's for sure.
150.
We've said that plenty of times today to ourselves. And whereas the ball is in the Vinnakainen court here, if Hutchinson can win, she would be only 2 points behind the top 3, who are all locked on 12 points. Imagine going from 6th position overnight to a position of aggression with 1 game to go on Tuesday. That's a phenomenal bounce back.
Kirsty require 90.
But at this point, that's an if.
Missed a big number, chased a treble and paid a hefty price as a consequence, but recovers well, leads herself on double 6, a target which she's hit on a few occasions today. If Vinnakainen cannot find the 164, it's not going to happen. Kirsi, the only ton plus checkout so far today, the 155 to get the better of Lisa Ashton in the last
100.
leg of that
Kirsi
particular match.
required 12.
And the doubling strikes again.
Kirsty Hutchinson.
Good stuff from Kirsty. Those who do not believe
Second
in
leg,
momentum in
it's Kirsi to throw
sport,
first.
they are perfectly
Gemma.
entitled to have their opinion. But when you look at Hutchinson today, momentum works. She won her first game yesterday. It didn't work then. But today it has. And it's more to do with the fact that she was able to have a good performance in her
24.
second game. She really has kicked on from that. Because when she beat Gemma Hayter 3 legs to 1, she averaged nearly 90.
95.
Have you ever noticed that there's a cat on Vinnikainen's shirt?
57.
And of course the cat paws, which are on the sleeves of the Kirsi Vinnikainen shirt.
140.
A dart shirt should be a representation of who you are, whether it's colours, patterns, or caricatures like that. So the next time you think about making yourself a dart shirt
100.
or buying one, which is worn by a famous player, ask yourself this. Why am I doing this? Why am I buying this? What appeals?
43.
If you're a cat lover, you might like a Vinnikainen shirt. Or you might really like Finnish dart players. I just don't like shirts that don't have any thought.
I.e., I went to the golf
$100.
shop and bought a polo shirt, and here we go, I'll wear it on stage.
I don't necessarily mind that if it's still got a little bit of personality about it. I don't, for instance, mind when Ryan Finesse does that.
100.
Because everything Ryan does has thought. Some people don't even want to have their name on their shirt, which I'm totally behind. Nothing wrong with that. But if you're going to go to the trouble of getting one made,
60.
spend some
Kirsty
time
required
on it.
123.
Another great first start from Hutchinson. She did have a big weakness yesterday. It was bullseye hitting. She didn't get close to it. Oh, that was
98.
really close this time.
Kirsty required 160.
Well, that was really scared, wasn't it? And Kirsi Vinnikainen is hoping to survive the scare. She missed tops of this at the end of her previous match. She's not going to get a dart at it here. And so Hutchinson is going to come back looking at this 25 to open up a 2-love lead in this
Kirsty
game.
required 25.
No, no,
score.
there's the peril.
Kirsty required 60.
The peril of the small number. And now, it's not a low dart, it's a pulled one. No prizes for guessing
28.
where this dart's going for Kirsty. It's
Kirsty
going
required
to be closer to the
25.
double 9. Ah, different plan.
And a
Edge
change of
on the
fortune.
second leg. Kirsty Hutchinson.
Nothing wrong about that one. Hutchinson gets the break and opens up a 2-0 lead.
Third leg, it's Kirsty to throw first. Game on.
A leg away from a 4th consecutive win. Picked up just one success yesterday in our opening match. She wins this one. She's within 2 points of the top 2 in the table, although that gap will
60.
be 4 no matter what, because Vinnikainen and Gulliver play in the final rounds. Murphy features ahead of that one, so she will be behind no matter what when it comes to the final day's worth of action.
60.
I think of all of the players here in Group A, it may just be Hutchinson who benefits the most from playing 5 games of best of 5.
85.
My reasoning for that is, at no point this season in Women's Series Darts has she played 5 games in a tournament. The most she's played is 4. Made the last 16 of Women's
45.
Series 3, where she lost out to a very close friend of hers, Natalie Gilbert. And then lost to Robin Byrne in Rosmarlin in the last 8. And would consequently lose to Robin Byrne again in the next tournament. But getting that extra game and the exposure to playing constant action is something that round robin darts does for you. If you're not playing well in knockout tournaments, you're not getting many matches under your belt.
28.
This week, these players are guaranteed lots of matches to iron out some creases. And maybe the most beneficial would be Kirsty.
Well, I think we've seen the proof in that particular pudding today because,
60.
say, for example, she had the day that she had yesterday, then she would have been out of proceedings very early in a knockout format, and she's probably coming back today thinking, one bad game and I'm out of here. But the fact that she's been able to work on things, play game in, game out, even if the results on Monday didn't always go to plan, it's given her the
95.
opportunity to, as you say, iron out those creases and just keep her razor sharp going into today. And we have seen a real uppage in level.
And that 89.46 average in
140.
her previous match, that is her best performance of the season. She hasn't needed that level in this game, but she's only 2 darts away from winning it. And Kirsi can't stop her from getting to the finishing line.
Kirsty required 96.
So 96 points away from the match for Kirsty Hutchinson, and 6 darts on this point to complete a comprehensive 3-0 victory. Kirsty Hutchinson was 25-1 with the odds compilers at the beginning of the day to be the top player in the group. But having won 4 for 4 so far on this Tuesday, she has put herself right in the reckoning. What a difference a day makes. And there's a reason why we call Tuesday Moving Day, because players like Kirsty Hutchinson, who struggle down the bottom end of the group, have an opportunity to put themselves in play. And that's exactly what she's done. A 3-0 success against Kirsty Vinnakainen. The doubling today has been magnificent. 3 from 5 on the outer ring. She's within a couple of points of the top players. Next up for us, Lisa Ashton takes on Paige Paulin.
$54. Charlie McGuire, 164. $44. $32. Charlie required 120.
Well, 120. He's got a fair, at least 2 handfuls at this. Just needs to stay
60.
there. That's a good shot. Halves his score. Leaves himself on a 2-darter.
$26. Charlie
Time on his
required
side
60.
to become back-to-back singles champion.
$40.
Definitely a couple of nerves in those last 2 darts. But he'll be coming back.
It's a moment he's been in before this situation. Standing at the back of the stage,
Charlie
approaching the
required
hockey with a
20.
chance to win the title.
He did this to win the first title, if you remember.
11.
I think he's gone. I think he's gone to bust it, maybe. The first title he won, he wanted 20. He went 6-7-7 to win it. He had a chance to replicate it again.
Yeah, I get the feeling that was for a bust, and
39.
on that situation there, George Gay wasn't even
9.
able to take it out going to the 18s on that switch.
Yeah, I think he just panicked a bit, but he's done well to get that big one.
Sometimes can be the hardest part.
Georgia requires
This is it.
79.
got to be 19s. It's got to be 19s for this shot. Big 20 and a double. He's got the first one. He's going to get a match dart here.
$59. Charlie,
Threw the entire body into that one. Just didn't want to let go of the dart.
No score.
He's given George a chance.
George require 20.
I think George has been quite good on double 10 today.
So many opportunities for Charlie Murphy.
Go!
Couldn't get the job
Got
done.
out the match! And the Red Dragon
George
Modus
Skate.
Super Series Influencers Champion, George Skate!
Games on the fourth flag.
He's promised it all week.
Game, shot, and the match. And the winner of the Modus Super Series.
By royal appointment, Mervyn King is representing England when it comes to the International Pair Tournament. He's alongside Steve West. Scotland's got John Henderson and Robert Thornton in there. Brian Roman and Janty Vandenberg for Belgium. Peter Maturi's back with the Kenyan team alongside Manpreet Kelsey. Gibraltar with Craig Galliano and Justin Hewitt. Netherlands, Jimmy Van Schie and Danny Van Tripe. Looking forward to seeing Shane McGurk and John O'Shea in action for the Republic of Ireland. Shane, of course, the reigning Lakeside World Champion. O'Shea, former World Masters Champion. Wales, Richie Burnett and Kurt Parry could be interesting. And Neil Duff, the captain of Northern Ireland, alongside Richard McKee. And Lucas Wachowski's back. He played okay, didn't he, a few weeks ago? He's going to be representing Poland. The action gets underway on Bank Holiday Monday, the 5th of May here on the Pluto TV Modus Super Series channel. It's going to be good fun. And we've had some drama on this Tuesday afternoon here at the Super Series. Before the break, Kirsty Hutchinson got the better of Kirsi Venikainen by 3-0 to move herself onto 10 points behind the top 3 players that are all on 12 going into the final round of the fixtures for the day. Game number 12 is a meeting between Lisa Ashton and Paige Paulin. They are the bottom 2 players in this group. And they're a long way back from the rest of the field. So you get the sense that for the remainder of proceedings in this Group A, both of these players will be playing for position and will be playing to kind of give themselves the best possible leg up when it comes to Group C on Thursday and Friday afternoon.
Lisa to throw first. Game on.
Yes, that's what it looks like. It's in bold, underlined, but not rubber stamped yet.
40.
But you would fancy that if Paige Pauling was to get the victory in this game against Lisa, that they would both be pretty much certain
45.
of a Group C berth on Thursday. Who thought that Lisa was going to be in the bottom 2 at this stage?
100.
Not us. Not anyone. The biggest surprise package has definitely been Kirsty Hutchinson.
46.
And she's got Paige Pauling in the last game of the day for a perfect Tuesday.
And to really put herself in the mix
6.
going into Wednesday. And we knew that she's playing some decent stuff on Monday, just couldn't get the results. But this has been a real upturn in form for Kirsty on Tuesday. As for Paige,
29.
I suppose there's a bit of a fear because she hasn't played badly in this group, but potentially what has happened over the course of the last couple of days in terms of the way
140.
the opposition have played against her could just knock her morale, just knock her confidence a little bit.
Losing doesn't do your confidence any good.
97.
The
BC
feeling of
require
winning is a different
161.
hormone that kicks in.
99.
Lisa's got the experience. She knows how to handle the swings of defeat, the swings of constant winning.
100.
Paige is only just
Lacey
starting to
requires
understand
62.
and to learn this process.
Double 16 for the opening leg and plenty of time at it.
Game shot on the
Superb
first
from
leg.
Ashton.
Lisa
Takes a
Ashton.
1-0 lead in this match. And I suppose the other thing as well, and I don't think we've mentioned it yet, is Paige is very
Second
experienced
leg,
for
it's
her age,
Paige
and we
to
know
throw
that she's going to
first.
go on to do great things.
Game on.
But think about the fact that she's spending a week in a practice room with Trina Gulliver, Lisa
59.
Ashton, 14 world championships between them. You've got other experienced campaigners like Kirsi in there. She could be so much of a sponge
121.
and just soak up all the little nuggets of information that she gets from the other players. That actually just being in the room and just being present,
43.
she could learn so much before she even steps foot on an hockey.
Yeah, I've got 4 words for you in regards to that. Best work experience ever.
85.
Because that's what this is. Paige obviously would love to have some form of professional career.
96.
But you don't just open up a set of darts one day and think, I'm going to do this for a living. Whether you're young, old, or somewhere in the middle. You've got to serve an apprenticeship. You've got to
98.
figure this out. Even Rob Cross had a couple of years of playing local tournaments and bossing stuff before he popped in 2016.
60.
I think Paige is going to be a player we're going to see a few more times. Obviously, there's one more Women's Week
59.
in June, and then after that, it's the Young Guns Week in August, which Paige is obviously eligible for. And I'd be surprised if she's not picked to play in a group in that
97.
particular
Lacey
competition.
require 138.
And just for the uninitiated, what's the age group for the Young Guns?
16 to 21. 138 for Lisa Ashton. What a
Game
finish!
shot on the second leg.
Now that's
Lisa
how you
Ashton.
take out a 138. Done so in
Third
superb
leg, it's
style
Lisa to throw
from the
first.
Lancashire Rose.
Game
You know,
on.
that's a very historic shot, that, you know.
World Championship winning shot.
That's not the one I was thinking of.
140.
Done exactly that way. 2 treble 20s and double 9 hit by James Wade. In the Premier League,
100.
it was that finish that stopped a monstrous run of consecutive wins for Phil Taylor. It was actually Wade that broke
140.
that streak with a 138. That's why it was memorable. Which means there have been 3 memorable 138s in darts history for very different reasons.
60.
Well, Lisa Ashton is putting in this performance once a day, which is mesmeric. And it was yesterday, Paige Paulin, that was on the wrong end of a 97.2 for the Lancashire Rose. And today, Lisa's averaging just under 96 and change. And looks like she could get this done in next to no time at all. It was the 138 in the previous leg. It's not going to be the 161 there, but she's very much on the cusp.
Lacey
At
requires
this point in the game,
64.
Paige is not doing anything wrong. She's just hitting smoke.
Double 16 to cap
Shot
off an
and the
immaculate
match, Lisa
display
Ashton.
from Lisa Ashton. 93.94 the average. 3 out of 4 when it comes to the doubles. And that is absolutely magnificent from the Lancashire Rose. Done so in 5.5 minutes. It was a demolition job from Lisa Ashton. There wasn't really too much Paige Paulin could have done about that one. And Lisa Ashton moves on to 6 points in the group. Next up, massive game at the top of the table. Trina Gulliver, Kirsi Vinakainen. Winner moves on to 14.
Are you ready to lift that trophy, Darius? Yeah. Let's do it then. Ladies and gentlemen, your Modus Super Series 9 champion is Lucky D, Darius Labanowski!
Well, what a wonderful night of darts we have seen, and we are ready. Our champion is ready, and it's trophy time. So we see the trophy. £25,000. The new Modus Super Series champion, the Terminator, Marvin Van Velzen. And one more time, the 8th Modus Super Series champion, the Terminator, Marvin Van Velzen. And the new Modus Super Series champion is Andreas Dirty Harrison. And one more time, the 7th Modus Super Series champion. Give it up for Andreas Dirty Harrison.
The moment we've all been waiting for. Would you please show your appreciation for your Series 6 Modus Super Series champion, Scott Taylor.
One more time, your new Modus Super Series champion. He is Chucky. He is Jim McEwen.
Ladies and gentlemen, your Modus Super Series champion, retaining his title, the Nuke, Luke Littler!
It's Charlie Murphy!
And he gets it.
He seems to be. He seems to be out. That's what he is.
Game shot the
Great leg.
first leg.
Best leg of the
Charlie
day
Murphy.
here for an influencer.
Game shot and the influencers champion, Charlie Murphy.
So these are the people involved in the Red Dragon Modus Super Series Influencer Dart Showdown 4. The players involve Peter Achuri, Jimmy Van Schie, Robert Thornton, Richie Burnett, Mervyn King, Jaden Walker, the 12-year-old sensation, John Henderson, David Williams and Danny Van Tripe. The influencers, Jack May of the Happy Hour podcast, Dan Coates, Ollie Howard and Bailey McNamara from the Bull Hitters. The darts referee, Marcel Scorpion. Away days, which is going to be a combination of Alex Platten and Ben Gribbs. They're going to be playing as a double, even though they're on their own, if you get where I'm coming from. Charlie Murphy and Stevie White. 12 o'clock on Sunday, the 11th of May for that. Right, we're going into the final round of fixtures now here at the Super Series. And the table looks as follows. Gemma Hayter, Trina Gulliver and Kirsty Vinnakainen all on 12 points. And Trina and Kirsi go head-to-head in Game 13 here. The winner will end the day with 14 points on the board and will put themselves in a really good position. Could be a top position depending on what Gemma Hayter does against Lisa Ashton in match number 14. But the winner will have the security of knowing that the very least they could do is be tied at the top of the table and be very much in situ come tomorrow's action. And I've got to be honest with you, Nico, it's been one of those days at the top of the table which has just swung back and forth. Just when you thought maybe one player's beginning to make an assault, or just when you think one player's beginning to slip, something happens in a round of fixtures that just completely flips your thinking.
One thing we know is that somebody's got to have 14 points. One of these ladies will. But who can it be? If Trina walks away with 14 points from the first 2 days this week, she will be elated. But after everything Vinakainen has done right today, she's still third.
85.
Trina is still second, and Gemma Hayter is still top. And no matter what Kirsty Hutchinson does in the last game, she's probably still going to be fourth. Depending
45.
on what happens to these ladies here. The tighter this game is, the harder it is for Hutchinson to climb the table.
83.
Let's get your insight into the pairs then, because with the influencer event, which has pairs, who do you want to see drawn with each other? Because there will be a draw. One influencer
55.
to go with one professional.
Well, put it this way. If whoever gets paired with one of the bull hitters has got a very, very good chance of winning the thing.
I'd agree. I want a nice, interesting pair, though, where there will be challenges. Marcel Scorpion with Peter Washuri. I think there might be a bit of a language barrier there. So it'll be interesting to see how they communicate.
83.
But I think everybody's looking forward to seeing Peter back here. Even if it was just for that one day. You saw some of the flamboyant stuff that he did when he was here last time.
100.
What could he possibly do when it's an influencer event?
What could he possibly do in international pairs is perhaps part of the question as well. I think it could be the international pairs, one of the best weeks we've had, particularly the Saturday night. That could be
45.
something
Trina, you
really
require
special.
152.
That's a good dart. And that should result in a shot to take this leg in 6 visits. Kirsi started her week against Gulliver
94. Trina, you require 67.
and didn't get out the blocks at all. Now, do you want to leave tops or double 16? It's usually tops.
47. Kirsi, you require 84.
Well, she's presented Kirsi Vinakainen with a chance here. But she's going to have to find a treble here with dart 2 to get a dart and a double. She's unable to do that. And so Gulliver will be back for double 10. Now, by and large, when she's had 3 in hand, she's been able to convert. And he needed the one there. Crucial break that Trina Gulliver needed at some point in the contest. She's got it right from the get-go to take a 1-0 lead.
It's Trina to throw first. Game on.
Yeah, Trina didn't make the trip to Rosmarlin for Women's Series darts recently, but did play tournaments prior to that.
26.
Best run this year, last 16 of Women's Series number 5, where she lost out to Fallon Sherrick. But if you look at her numbers,
108.
fine 180 from Kirsi. But if you look at Trina's numbers for this season in that kind of venue,
58.
Compared to this, they're better here. Now, we can speculate as to why. Is it a shorter format that suits her? Is it the venue? What is going on again with Kirsi Vinakainen? She was on a 9 in Tallinn recently. She got the 7th dart.
And she came oh so close to getting one of the Lakeside in December against Bo Greaves. Fallon Sherritt became the first ever female player to hit a 9 darter in front of the cameras in this building, but Kirsi Vinnakainen isn't going to be the second on this occasion.
45.
Still a brilliant leg.
Well, left Trina Gulliver in the tailwind. And I think Trina will just have to accept the fact that this game is going to be back to an equal kilter before too long. 11 darter would be the best leg of the week so far. She's able to convert this in 2.
That will do more than nicely.
$140. Kirsi require 40.
Well, even that 140 doesn't leave Trina inside finishing range, so still another 6 here for Kirsi to level up at 1 apiece. Gets the break back with a 13 darter. She found a 12 and a 13 towards the back end of
third leg. It's Kirsi
her match against Lisa Ashton in game 2 of the session. Well, Trina thought she was very first there. Then realised that she was broken in the previous leg, and Kirsi Vinnakainen will come back to throw at the beginning of leg 3.
Kirsi did win her first Women's Series event this year.
81.
Winning, funnily enough, number 5, which was Trina's best run.
100.
When Trina lost out to Fallon, Kirsi took out Aletta Via in that round, and then consequently took out Robin Byrne, Eleanor Cairns, and Fallon Sherritt in the final. So if Trina had kept going that day, they would have met in the final.
140.
And she, of course, is the newest winner in Women's Series darts.
83.
Lisa's got 18 of them. Trina's got 1. Bo Greaves has got a few more. I think there will come a time where Bo Greaves has got more than 50.
40.
But maybe not one on the consistent scale as it was before. Not because her powers are waning, but everybody else has been able to catch up to her level, which is probably something that Trina Gulliver had to endure for a time where she was the dominant force. Her standard probably didn't slip, but because that she was such a dominant force, everybody else had to try and get to her level, and within time that happened.
Yeah, people challenged Trina. I think this is a misconception in ladies darts from about 20, 25 years ago. There were plenty of people who were challenging her at the time. Frances Hernseler was.
45.
Mika de Boer was. Mandy Solomons did. Chrissy Manley was world number 1. She was known as Christy Howard back then.
94.
And then you'd have the next generation where Anastasia comes through. And Dieter Hedman, of course, has been challenging since the early mid-90s. There have been plenty of challenges to Trina's dominance at times. But when she's been pushed, she's been able to respond.
Well, we've kind of seen tales of that so far this week. At the beginning of the week, we didn't quite know what kind of form Trina was in. She's shown glimpses of brilliance, and even on a day which has been at times quite trying for her, she's managed to find a way out of the mire at points. Now, Vinnakainen's not going to find the 138 that Lisa Ashton found in the previous game against Paige Pauling. So Gulliver here
60.
Has got an opportunity from this 82 to get the third consecutive breaker throw and then have the darts in the next to win the match.
That could have worked out worse. Make sure of the 13. Oh no, don't hit that. Don't hit the double.
Unfortunately for Trina, it's not the first time that has happened to her today, and she's hit the triple 5. She's led herself on double 11. Kirsi looking to pinch Trina's pocket A holder throw, which will feel like a break to her. And Trina just trying to smile through the pain of it all. 20 for tops. That's a beautiful guide. It's inviting, but it's not got.
Trina, you require
That 60
22.
score of Trina in the last visit may just be the weirdest score of 60 I've ever seen. Now it's the double north of double 13.
14. Kirsi required 20.
So Vinakainen back for tens. Gulliver knowing that she's afforded her opponent a real gilt-edged chance and a leg that she should have seen off, should have been clean off. But Vinakainen picks up the pieces and moves 2-1 to the good, and it could be the Finn that moves on to 14 points overnight in a game that Gulliver should be leading.
Game on.
You know how earlier we were describing different dart throws? I mean, Trina's got incredible technique, always has had.
81.
You look at Vinakainen, it's a lob. It's very much a turn of the wrist and then lob the dart through the air. It's guiding it. It's not a push, it's not a fling, it's a guide.
97.
It places a lot of importance on the shape of the flight she uses, which is actually quite unusual. I'm sure she went through a lot of different
46.
flight shapes before coming onto these, which I think are very similar to something that Martin Adams used to use.
But it wouldn't be a surprise when you consider how close the pair are.
100.
These two really are exchanging, aren't they? Couple of breaks of throw to start the game. Trina Gulliver hoping a couple of holds will take us all the way to a last leg decider as we have a look at the setup of both players.
95.
I like the synchronicity between the flights and the shirt for Vinakainen. Good branding.
$58.
One thing's for sure, the worst case scenario for Trina today is not that bad. 2 points behind at the end of the day at
99.
worst. That means today's been all right.
Whatever happens, she's going to be in play when it comes to tomorrow's action, and that was probably all that she could have asked for. Yes, she would have wanted that assault at the table, but she's kept herself
81.
in play, and that's an important
Kirsi
thing for
require
her.
110.
But Vinakainen can finish this game off 3-1 if she can find this 110. Triple 18. Leaves the double for the match. And to finish off yet another game, the Tub Plus finish.
92.
That would have been the second time she'd
Trina
done that
require
today.
135.
This would be some way to save it. And the shot is off on the bullseye for the second consecutive leg.
And so Vinakainen will come back, having a look at this double nine to
55.
get this game
Kirsi
wrapped up.
require
For
18.
a 3-1 victory, which would put her on to 14 points overnight. The Golden Girl knows that opportunities are missed earlier on today. She decides to split. And makes absolutely
And
no
match,
mistake on
Kirsi
the double
Vinakainen.
four. And the defending champion here at Women's Week, Kirsi Vinakainen, gets the better of Trina Gulliver by 3 legs to 1 to move herself to the summit of this Group A with a day to spare. For Trina Gulliver, she had opportunity to stretch away a lead. But as far as the day is concerned, it was just 2 wins from 5. And she may well be finding herself chasing. She may well be lurking over her shoulder as well tomorrow. For Vinakainen 3, Gulliver 1. Hayter takes on Ashton next. Welcome back to the Modus Super Series, where coming up later on today, we have a very, very special insight. We're heading out on location, and we are heading to the farm.
This is like haylage, so the horses like the haylage, so they ran out yesterday. So we've got to keep them nice and warm under rugs, and yeah, we've got a little Shetland, and we got coloured, which, well, Katie's got 2, and 2 were my mum and dad's. So when they passed away, I inherited them, but they're great, they are good. My granddad had set me going when I was about 7, and then I'd just keep going up and down the field until he came and got me at lunchtime. And then we come home again, and yeah, I loved it. I've loved every minute of it. He's really old. He's one of my oldest ones. So I look after you, don't I? Nice little house to yourself, so that all the younger boys don't get you. What are you up to, young man? Just keep an eye on him.
Ow. Been biting.
So these are the original 2 mums. They'll have a little nibble. Oh, just push it off. Just shove it. Honestly, we won't do anything to it. Don't eat his coat. Just shove it.
Don't.
Just shove it off.
A little bit of an insight of Scott Mitchell's life on the farm. He does tell us about it a lot, so I suppose it's best we take a look there. 7 o'clock tonight here on Pluto TV on the dedicated Modus Super Series channel. Should be a cracking watch. So, before the break, we saw Kirsi Vinnakainen get the better of Trina Gulliver by 3 legs to 1 to end her day with 14 points on the board. Match number 14 is a meeting between Gemma Hayter and Lisa Ashton. 2 of the favourites for dart was thrown this week. In fact, they were 1st and 3rd in the betting to go on and win this particular Group A. For Gemma Hayter, she could move to 14 points and back to the summit of a win. Lisa Ashton's picked up just 3 wins so far in this group. But I suppose the truth is, you don't quite know what version of Lisa Ashton's going to turn up, because yes, she may have only picked up 3 wins, but in all the 3 games she's played, she has found an insanely high level. 2 of them with averages in excess of 90.
If the good version turns up, that will be really good news for Kirsty Hutchinson, because that would present a chance for her to get into a 3-way logjam on 12 points. If that doesn't happen and Gemma does get the win, we're going to have 2 people at the top on 14.
100.
But I think that lingering question of which version of Lisa turns up is the biggest one.
Well, just a slight stoppage in play here at the Live Lounge in Portsmouth. Both players just waiting patiently in the background to get the action back underway on what is a sunny afternoon here on the south coast amidst the middle of a heat wave. Weather and temperature-wise around about 21 degrees in Portsmouth this week. But I suppose the big question will be who can keep their cool underneath all the pressure. Both players just having a conversation at the back of the stage, just getting on with it whilst you have a bit of a stoppage. And it is one of those where in this environment, because there's one computer system basically that operates everything, if there's one thing that goes slightly wrong, then the whole thing just has to stand still for a second. But both players doing the right thing here.
Gemma's last score was 40.
I didn't realise the temperature went up by 21 degrees this week. No wonder I feel hot.
140.
What was the temperature last week? Was about 11. Must be 32 outside.
81.
All right, I'm getting the shorts out, that's for sure. It is getting warm, though, which will have an effect on this place.
45.
As much as we condition the air as best we can for a sport that requires very intricate flight of throw.
98.
Even in the middle of the summer, this place does get warm.
which is particularly pertinent if you're playing in Group B, because the lights would have been on from one session already today, and the building would still be in operation between sessions, and so the heat just stays in the auditorium throughout the course of the day. So if you're playing late on a Thursday, Friday night at midnight, 1 a.m., the lights have probably been on for the best part of 13 hours, and it does get warm in here. The wooden roof makes it warm in here. Gemma Hayter, though, cannot get off to a red-hot start.
I have a fix for that. But Lisa Ashton, as great as she is, can't take 103 and 2.
40. Gemma, you require 18.
Double 9 gave her a few problems yesterday. And it's happened again.
Score.
She's throwing that dart a long way because her position on the oche is way right. Oh, now. Look who's gone way
32.
left.
Gemma, you require
That happened yesterday
18.
to Lisa as well. It's not the first time that's happened this week, and can Gemma Hayter pick up the pieces as a consequence? Down for double 2.
14.
8 darts missed for Gemma Hayter
32.
to win this opening leg, and Lisa Ashton can come back and pinch her pocket.
Game shot on the first leg.
Maybe
Lisa
that
Ashton.
dart in the previous visit was just a tester to see how she sights up double 16, because she's found that perfectly there. She's got the break
Second
and has
leg,
opened
it's
up a
Lisa
1-0
to throw
lead.
First. Game on.
Do you want to hear my fix for this place for the hot weather then?
Please do.
You know how we never sit still when it comes to production
80.
or anything we do here? We never have. How about the Live Lounge in Portsmouth Cabriolet? We can make this place a soft top.
60.
And when it gets warm, we can retract the roof.
Well, why don't we just play it outdoors and we don't have to spend a load of money on a roof?
60.
We do have this thing in quite a windy place, Henry. Portsmouth, it's quite windy, so no.
So I put a board up when Victorious
60.
Festival's on and just play the Saturday night down there between Kings of Leon playing.
Not sure that's going to go down pretty well.
123.
But my thought process is, if you were to have a venue like Hamburg, for instance, which was used for World Cup darts and for European Tour darts, they had a retractable roof. And then in between sessions, they'd open it up, providing that the weather wasn't raining. That might not be a feasible plan, considering the beauty of the roof, but
Lisa require 143.
it has been thought of in other venues.
Ashton looking for a second big of the day. The 143 isn't going to go, but she has got 6 darts on this point.
Gemma's starting to show a little bit of
87.
negativity here. I think those double 9 shots have really caused her a bit of hurt.
We saw signs of this yesterday as well in the last
60.
game against Kirsi Vinakainen,
require
where
56.
frustration just beginning to creep in as the day drew to a close. Just about in the single 16.
36.
There has been 1 or 2 concerns in terms of the setting up for doubles for Lisa Ashton in this game, but her power scoring at the beginning of legs have given her opportunities.
140.
She's going for a 180 to leave 5.
Game shot on the
Didn't make any
second leg,
difference.
Lisa Ashton.
But that was different.
Third leg, it's Gemma to throw first.
I wouldn't
Game
say
on.
this is A-grade Lisa Ashton, but it's good enough for a 2-0 lead. Genuinely,
41.
today could be the ideal scenario for Kirsty Hutchinson. She couldn't have asked for much more if Lisa does walk away with a win here.
Well, this could be chaos tomorrow. Absolute chaos at the top of the table for Group B. Put it this way, 4
90.
players are in a dogfight for 1 spot at the top of the group, but even if you don't win the group, you may not even be given the guarantee of playing in the night sessions.
How many people, I don't have this off the top of my head, but how many people have been bottom of Group A on Monday and won?
The group.
Yeah.
The one person I can think of is
40.
Moreno Blom.
In a Group A?
He lost his first 4 matches, won 10 of his last 11, And Wesley Harms beat Lee Cox 4-0 to guarantee that Moreno qualified through to the Saturday.
And just to confirm how much of a Super Series nerd Henry is, that is not written down on one of his 5,000 post-it notes.
85.
That is from his memory bank, which, if 100% accurate, is incredibly impressive.
Well, I should know because I was sat
78.
next to Moreno on the old balcony, as it was then. And Moreno couldn't sit in the practice room. He sat upstairs, and he was like a jack in the box.
135.
And he may have afterwards knew that he was going to get interviewed by me and may have got rather excited in the interview.
60. Gemma, you require 110.
You and Moreno were sitting in a tree. And he was WINNING.
$50.
Now, this is an opportunity to end the day on a massive high. Gemma's had 8 darts at a double and hasn't hit one yet. That has got to change, and that doesn't help. Look at the angle. That makes that dart even better. What a great shot.
Well, she may have shown signs of dejection in the previous leg, but she's lifted herself up off the canvas. You can tell that she is not 100% enamoured with the performance levels, but she's kept herself in the contest. But perhaps the hardest task is to come with Ashton with the darts here to complete a 3-1 success.
$60. $140.
Yeah, that's much better. I think it's fair to say that if Ashton does get a victory, if she was to win this group, it would be something we'd talk about forever. She'd be 6 points behind the top spot. I don't think anybody's done that, have they?
100.
Won a group from 6 points behind on the final day?
Off the top of my head, I cannot remember.
Which means it hasn't happened.
4 points has been done before. Conor Heenahan got bitten by that particular bullet, although it didn't really deter him too much because he'd come back the next day, hit a 9-darter, 107 average, 115 average.
Do you remember that old show, Fantasy Football League, with David Baddiel and Frank Skinner?
Before I was born.
Get out.
37.
They had someone on that show called Stato. That's you. Stato, Stato, Stato.
I'll take the compliment out of that.
117.
Well, Ashton, a superb setup to leave herself a double 12. Unless Hayter could have taken out the 164. She gave it a good scare, but
84.
couldn't stare it down. And so Ashton
24.
looking at double 12 for a 3-1 win to end her day on a high. And there it is, back-to-back victories for the Lancashire Rose to end her day. And for Gemma Hayter, she's going to find herself a couple of points behind Kirsi Vinnakainen going into the final day of Group A. And look who it suddenly opened the door for now. Kirsty Hutchinson, who was bottom of the group today at the beginning of the day, having picked up just 2 points on her opening 5 matches, has got the chance to complete the card. If she beats Paige Pauling next, she'll be 2 points behind the leader. Join us after the break for more Super Series darts.
$54. Charlie McGuire, 164. $44. $32. Charlie required 120.
Well, 120. He's got a fair, at least 2 handfuls of this. Just needs to stay
60.
there. That's a good shot. Halves his score. Leaves himself on a 2-darter.
$26. Charlie, you
Time on his
require
side
60.
to become back-to-back singles champion.
$40.
Definitely a couple of nerves in those last 2 darts. But he'll be coming back.
It's a moment he's been in before this situation. Standing at the back of the
81.
stage,
Charlie, you
approaching the
require
Oki with a
20.
chance to win the title.
He did this to win the first title, if you remember.
11.
I think he's gone.
Georgia
I think
require
he's gone to
180.
bust it, maybe. The first title he won, he wanted 20. He went 6-7-7 to win it. He had a chance to replicate it again.
Yeah, I get the feeling that was for a bust, and
39.
on that
Charlie,
situation
you
there, George
require
Scaife wasn't even
9.
able to take it out going to the 18s on that switch.
Yeah, I think he just panicked a bit, but he's done well to get that big one.
Sometimes can be the hardest part.
Georgia requires
This is it.
79.
It's got to be 19s. It's got to be 19s for this shot. Big 20 and a double. He's got the first one. He's going to get a match dart here.
$59. Charlie,
Threw
you
the entire
require
body into that
8.
one. Just didn't want to let go of the dart.
No score.
He's giving George a chance.
Georgia require 20.
I think George has been quite good on double 10 today.
So many opportunities for Charlie Murphy.
Go!
Couldn't get the job
it.
done.
Got in the match! And the Red Dragon
George
Modus
Scaife.
Super Series Influencers Champion, George Scaife!
Double 16 for the win. Can we have a spectacular end to the game? Yes, we can.
And the match.
It's double 12. Yeah, International Pairs is back next week here at the Super Series at the Live Lounge in Portsmouth. 12 nations competing for the inaugural trophy and global supremacy here at the Super Series. Our final match of the day is a meeting between Paige and Kirsty Hutchinson, who so far have had complete contrasting fortunes. Kirsty Hutchinson looking to complete the card on this second day's worth of play, whilst Paige Pauling is looking to get off the mark today. For Paige, she's played some decent stuff, but it just feels like her opponents are finding that extra gear against her, whilst Kirsty Hutchinson has been a different player. The performances have been night and day in comparison to some of her showings on Monday. She's really drawing in belief and confidence.
First leg, it's Paige
And
to throw
in particular,
first. Game on.
her double hitting has been absolutely tremendous.
Yeah, it really has. 44% on the doubles for the day.
140.
That's about 7% better than Kirsi Venikainen from yesterday, who was in turn 10% better than anybody else. So that puts her doubling
81.
into perspective. Her confidence will have absolutely rocketed today, but still has a job to do. And if she can
28.
do it at the expense of Paige, she will very much be in the mix. She could even steal third position from Trina Gulliver, but would have to win
55.
3-0 for that.
Well, this has been a crazy day of Super Series darts here at the Live Lounge in Portsmouth. When we began at 9:30 with Gulliver winning her first game and Hayter losing her first game, did we think we'd be in a position, particularly where Kirsty Hutchinson was going to play herself into the form which had put her in the mix? With the greatest respect to all the players involved, we did not expect there to be 4 players in the race to win this Group A come the end of Tuesday. But credit has to go where credit's due for Kirsty Hutchinson. Vinakainen and Hayter and Gulliver have just kind of, well, they've been involved in one of those days where they've just kind of cancelled each other out, haven't they?
Kirsty started the day 6 points behind top spot.
60.
Win this one, it's only 2. However, maybe a bit of pressure for the first time. Come what may,
100.
she will have gotten closer to the top than she was yesterday. Lovely visit.
Kirsty
Classy from Pauling.
134.
That results in a chance. Now, she has been 2-0 up today against Kirsi Vinakainen, but then was seeing the door slammed in her face.
58. Paige requires 16.
So, 8-8 for Pauling to take the opening leg.
Game shot on the first
and
leg.
I suppose
Paige
reverse
Pauling.
the fortunes of yesterday where Paige lost 3-2 to Kirsty. And it could be a reverse day for Kirsty
Second
Hutchinson
leg,
where
it's
she won her
Kirsty
first
to
match
throw
and lost
first.
her
Game on.
other 4 on Monday. She could win her first 4 games on Tuesday and potentially lose the last one.
But here's an interesting spin on what you just said.
60.
She's beaten everyone. Everyone in this group has lost to Kirsty Hutchinson now.
60.
So she doesn't have any emotional turmoil against anybody going into tomorrow because she knows she's beaten everyone.
And she's put herself in a position which, let's be honest, we looked at halfway through the day, we thought, Kirsty's playing well,
85.
but has she just left herself with too much to do? Is it going to be one of those where she's comfortably 4th and pits herself in Group C and looks dangerous? Well,
43.
it's the complete compare and contrast of that because she's very much in the mix. And she has a similar day tomorrow to what she's had today. She's got every chance of having a couple of days off on Thursday and Friday.
85.
As much as it would be a huge story if Kirsty was to win the group, I'm not 100% certain that that would benefit her.
100.
Because I think she's going through some new process stuff with the 4th dart as a bit of an anchor. It might benefit her greatly if she plays Thursday, Friday. It's more likely that she
45.
will do that from this current position. It would just be remarkable if she was to climb off the bottom of the table and win the group.
140.
But at this stage, she's being outgunned by the young star.
Well, Paige Pauling is turning it on here, putting in one of her better performances of the day.
41. Paige require 158.
One thing we shouldn't forget as well is that Paige could, in turn, at her young age, be inspiring even younger people this week.
96.
Well, I was reading something on social media yesterday that somebody said to me about the JDC academies and how, in particular, the girls' class and the girls' sessions are seeing numbers
80.
exponentially
Paige
go up
requires
and up
62.
and up, and more young people wanting to get involved in the sport, which is a great thing to see. And
so on
that's
the
a great
second
finish for
leg,
Paige
Paige
Pauling. That's the break of throw. That's a 2-0 lead, and she has the darts in her hand here to get this
Third
wrapped
leg,
up
it's
very
Paige
quick.
to throw first. Game on.
Kirsty did seem to flag yesterday in her 5th game.
43.
And we've already referenced the fact that her playing 5 games a day is beneficial because she hasn't done it this season in the PDC at all until yesterday.
60.
It just feels like Paige has got a little bit more energy right now. And maybe a little bit more
58.
freedom to do whatever she wants. Whereas the thought process here for Kirsty is one of, I'm trying to catch someone, I'm trying to catch them. Paige is not trying to catch anyone right now.
45.
Well, it's perhaps a perception that Paige Pauling now is the only player in this group that hasn't got anything to play for. It's more likely than not that she's going to finish in Group C positioning in this particular Group A. Lisa Ashley will need a good day tomorrow to put herself in the mix. Kirsty's very much, regardless of the result here, in and amongst it. Paige can be that dangerous spoiler now from here on in. Group C is going to be the most likely destination, but what she can do is upset somebody else and stop somebody else from achieving what they set out to do tomorrow. And play her way into form, just like you were mentioning with Jensen Walker and Jared Cole a couple of weeks before. And Jared Cole did finish bottom of 41. Group A before then going on to win his week. The king of the castle.
Yeah, nobody's reply would be to that.
100.
Where did I finish on the Saturday night? Oh, that's right. I had a trophy in my hand. Too busy looking at my reflection in something. And it was a medal around my neck.
45. Paige, you require 106.
For the match, and plenty of time from this 106 to get the job done.
Well, this should be bull here.
49.
That works.
57 points away, and Kirsty Hutchinson at this present moment in time is nowhere to be seen.
She's right there.
100.
But in the game,
Paige, you require 57.
she may be gone.
Well, that makes life awkward. Double free.
51.
Now things get a little bit awkward.
142.
That last start was one of, I don't want to leave myself 3.
Five. Paige, you require 6.
I think Kirsty Hutchinson now is fully expecting this day to be over. There's so much in terms of positivity she could take from today. 4 wins has put her in the mix. But Paige Pauling has warranted this moment, warranted this opportunity. But she put a drawbridge up at that double free. And now because of the score last time out, Kirsty Hutchinson comes back, but she's coming back for a big ask.
Like 3 cricket stumps in front of double 3 there. 3 well-thrown shots, but all at the wrong height.
59.
5 darts at double 3.
6.
Now she needs 6 on dart 6.
And the match.
And she takes it out tremendously. And it's a tremendous end to the day for Paige Pauling. At times, it's been quite frustrating work for the 17-year-old. But she's got the better of Kirsty Hutchinson by 3 legs to 0. Kirsty, the player of the day, won her first 4. Just ran out of steam a little bit in the last one, but is very much in play when it comes to tomorrow's action. But it's the defending champion, Kirsty Vinnakainen, that has a 2-point lead in Group A going into tomorrow's action. Reaction and analysis comes next.
Are you ready to lift that trophy, Darius?
Yeah.
Let's do it then. Ladies and gentlemen, your Modus Super Series 9 champion is Lucky D, Darius Labanowski!
Well, what a wonderful night of darts we have seen, and we are ready. Our champion is ready, and it's trophy time. So receive the trophy. £25,000. The new Modus Super Series champion, the Terminator, Marvin Van Velzen. And one more time, the 8th Modus Super Series champion, the Terminator, Marvin Van Series champion is Andreas Dirty Harrison. And one more time, the 7th Modus Super Series champion. Give it up for Andreas Dirty Harrison.
The moment we've all been waiting for. Would you please show your appreciation for your Series 6 Modus Super Series champion, Scott Taylor.
Time, your new Modus Super Series champion. He is Chucky. He is Jim McEwen.
Ladies and gentlemen, your Modus Super Series champion, retaining his title, the Nuke, Luke Lidlow.
Welcome back to the Modus Super Series. Tuesday's action here at Women's Week 3 has come to a close. And before the break, we saw Paige Pauling get the better Kirsty Hutchinson by 3-0. But it's very, very tight at the top of the table. It was a day which saw twists and turns pretty much from first start to last. Kirsty Vinnakainen has a 2-point lead. She won 4 out of 5 today. Gemma Hayter and Trina Gulliver both on 12 points. They were the top 2, but they only won 2 matches each on this Tuesday. Kirsty Hutchinson, 4 wins out of 5. The legs difference may well tell for her, but 4 position for her. She's got a great chance of getting into Group B. Lisa Ashton on 8 and Paige Pauling at the bottom of the table on 4 points. The asset, Paul Nicholson, has been watching every single dart in the commentary box, and he joins us here in the studio now. Before we talk about any of the players individually, what a day of twists and turns we've seen. Just when we thought that maybe one player was beginning to motor away with the group, just when we thought one player was maybe working their way out of it, there was twists and turns at every single corner.
Yeah, we've seen stages. We saw it at the end of yesterday with Vinnakainen starting to make a move after a slow start. But I like this. This is good because if someone was racing away with it, you'd think, well, what else are they playing for apart from a spot in Group B, or maybe playing for pride, or trying to establish some sort of confidence? What we've got here is an unpredictable story, and we don't have the end of it yet. So when you come to the end of a session like we are today, you think, okay, what are we going to get tomorrow? A little bit more of that, and we could see somebody go from bottom of the table to top, even though she did lose her last game in Kirsty Hutchinson.
In terms of Kirsty Vinnakainen, 8 points to her day. We felt like she was playing in patches on Monday, but once she found that level of consistency, we saw some great stuff. And this 1-5-5 against Lisa, the highlight of the day.
This was a great game. I know that these two have shared many a practice room and many an hockey around Europe, but you can see what that meant to Kirsi doing that against such an established world champion. That was an incredible finish. And we haven't had many ton plus finishes over the last couple of days. That is by far the best way to end a leg that we've seen so far. That was a superb performance.
Kirsi was joined with Kirsty Hutchinson in terms of winning 4 games out of 5 on this Tuesday. And the level of improvement that we've seen from day 1 to day 2, you've got to give full credit to Kirsty for that.
Yes, starting well again. She won her first game on Monday, was able to get that second win and got on a bit of a roll after that. And in a third game, we saw what she can really do. Averaged nearly 90, and at this point, she's bubbling with confidence. By the end of the day, though, I just started to get the feeling that she was starting to flag a little bit. And this is a symptom of not having a great deal of joy in knockout tournaments very recently. You play 2, 3, possibly 4 games, and by this point, it's maybe something you've done once or twice this year when you've been struggling. But when you're constantly being exposed to 5 games in a day, your darting engine will be tested. And I think at the end of today, Kirsty was just a little bit out of petrol.
She got a free hit tomorrow.
No, I don't think she has, actually. knowing the way she operates, she's a very spirited dart player. She'll see the improvement that's been made on Tuesday. She'll want to go up another notch again. And she will understand that being 4 points behind at the top, this is gettable. I mean, getting within 2 points would have been an incredible effort on Tuesday. 4 points is doable. So if she gets the same sort of start, who knows?
Let's talk about the players that were the top two at the beginning of the day, Gemma Hayter and Trina Gulliver. And in the case of Gemma, it felt like what went so right on Monday maybe went wrong today, maybe?
I think people stepped up against Gemma today, and they understand the threat that she poses. This is her territory. She's played more darts here recently than all of the people in this field. She's still a very dangerous player, but to be honest, she was off her game on Tuesday. But how much damage has been done? Very little. That's the problem for the likes of Vinnakainen and Gulliver and the chasing pack. She's won 4 points today. She's still got a better leg difference than anybody and is only 2 points behind. So you can try and get rid of Gemma if you want to, but it's very, very hard to do.
What about Trina today? How will she sit back and look back at things?
I think when she debriefs a little bit later on, she'll think it hasn't been a bad day because she's still in position to win the group, but it could have been a lot better. A few key missed darts at double. The scoring wasn't quite there as much as it was yesterday, but maybe after the way she was talking with us at the end of Monday, she was backing herself to have another incredible day, and it didn't quite cooperate with the dreams she had when she first woke up. She wasn't able to execute the plan as much, so she will be disappointed, but philosophically, I think she'll be okay with it.
And just quickly, has Lisa Ashton played her way into form, the way that she finished the day with a couple of good wins?
Yeah, I think what she needed was a couple of splashes in the pond, and that's what she's done. Put in another great performance against Paige, and at the end looked way too good for her last opponent. So moving into tomorrow, just to displace one of your previous questions, she really does have a free hit. And if there's one person you don't want to have a free hit, it's Lisa Ashton.
Well, let's have a look then at the state of play once again going into tomorrow's action, because 4 points separate the top four players. This could be a free-fall tomorrow, couldn't it?
Hopefully. I really hope it is, because it'll be more watchable. Unpredictability is what we like here at the Modus Super Series, whether it's a regulation week or a women's week or an influencer day, that kind of thing. We want to have unpredictability. So if I put my hand on my heart right now and I say that Kirsty Hutchinson, for instance, is going to finish top, I don't have any assurance about that whatsoever. If I do the same for Gemma Hayter, I'm feeling exactly the same, because we don't know what we're going to get. There are fragilities in some of these players, there are strengths, and we've seen them at different times.
Nico, as ever, thank you so much for your coming. See you again tomorrow. Plenty coming up across Pluto TV. Coming up next, Luke Humphreys is at the Live Lounge. He'll be playing some challenges. He'll be having an in-depth conversation with Chris Murphy about his career so far. That's going to be followed by the Tungsten Talk. That's going to centre around Bo Greaves, the three-time world champion, talking about her career path so far. The Live Darts is back tomorrow morning, 9:30 a.m. We're going to conclude Group A. Kirsi Vinnakainen is in pole position, but can the Finn cross the line? And she's looking to defend the title that she won back in January. And it will come to a close on Saturday night, 7:30 p.m. We're going to get underway for finals night here at Women's Week 3 to see who is going to be the winner of the fourth specials week that we've had here at the Super Series in 2025. Vinnakainen, Howson and Harrison are the three winners of specials weeks so far this year. And by the end of play tomorrow, we'll know the first name into the hat for the Saturday night fold. But as far as we're concerned, well, 4 points separate four players, but it's the Finn who's at the top. We'll see you tomorrow. Take care. Bye-bye for now.
What a finish. What a man.
The drum roll finishes, and the target is
finals night, and it's a knockout. Dirty